You're listening to Tehachapi with Key Budge, Corey Costello, and Greg Garrett.
Tehachapi time, Key Budge, Greg Garrett, Corey Costello, the three of us all together. It's been a while because we introduced Mini-Pod. And I've done those without you guys.
Yeah, they're not as entertaining.
I knew you'd go there. I
I love them, Key. I think they're spectacular.
No, that's a great idea. It really is. It's a cool, quick update concept. But yeah, you brought it up. Greg mentioned it in the city council meeting, and of course, someone sitting next to me, Jay, our engineer, goes because Greg said, "Oh, no me, no Corey," and Jay says, "Finally." And I said, they're not as
get right to the meat and potatoes of things, right?
And to give people that background why all of a sudden we got these mini casts. Like today will be a full conversational podcast, so we'll be 30, 40 minutes, whatever it is. But the mini pod was just, hey, let's get some information out quick.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
And they're more timely.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first one we did was with the Chamber of Commerce, and Jeanette Powers, the new president CEO of the Greater Tehachapi Chamber of Commerce. And we're going to feature the chamber and her on a podcast in the coming weeks. But I wanted to get her in under your idea, Greg. I'll throw you that. I threw you the mini pod, and then you said, hey, why don't you bring in Jeanette and see how it goes? And we had a quick conversation about upcoming events at the Chamber of Commerce. And then we tied it in with community events, or I did. And it was quick 10, 12 minutes, and we're in, we're out, you got information, and moved on.
Well, it was the community calendar, as a voiceover, if you will. Instead of a piece of paper, somebody could listen to the mini pod and learn about what's happening, ribbon cuttings, or different speakers at different places
and
at different times.
It's a good follow-up, too, to some of the larger shows we've done, whether it be Tehachapi Community Theater, Love Tehachapi, whatever, because they do stuff throughout the year. It's an opportunity to expand upon the larger show we did or we're going to do and give an update on the more timely things happening on their calendars.
Exactly right. And we've done that with TCT. We've got an update that'll be coming up in one of the future shows. Had a chance to talk with the director, David Stemstrom, of the upcoming Moon Over Buffalo show.
I saw Andy this morning, actually, at the EDC meeting. So, she's excited to be there.
She was a great guest.
Yes. Yeah, she's very animated. You can tell she's an actress.
Yes.
Yeah. But today, we're going to talk about the MakeAWish Foundation locally, and we brought in Ashley Sodergren. Ashley, welcome to Tehachapi.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
You and I have known each other for a few years, going back to the American Cancer Society and doing Relay for Life and being involved in that program, over the last, 5-7 years, whatever it was. But then you were recently at a EDC meeting and reintroduced yourself to the audience, and I was like, hey, there's got to be a Tehachapi connection to Make-A-Wish.
Absolutely. That absolutely is.
And so let's dive right there. I mean, Make-A-Wish, a lot of people already know, but let's recap in case someone doesn't know what Make-A-Wish is or that we have a local chapter.
Absolutely. So Make-A-Wish is a national organization, but each chapter is its own 501c3. Our chapter is very large. It spans all of northeastern and central California and northern Nevada. But my territory is what we consider the South Valley, and that encompasses Kern, Kings, Inyo, and Tulare counties. And just in those 4 counties, we have about 200 kids on their wish journey waiting for their wishes to be granted. And in Tehachapi, we have 5 children right now. So a lot of people think of Make-A-Wish as this national organization. A lot of people recognize the brand, but they don't realize that we have an impact in your backyard, essentially. And I'm hoping to bring some light to that and let people know that we are as local as you can possibly be.
So Make-A-Wish Foundation, you exist to help children and families of those children have a great little vacation or an escape from the terminal illness or whatever they might have, right?
Yeah. So our mission is together we create life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. So a lot of people do think that we only grant wishes for children with terminal illnesses, and that's not the case. It's actually any child with a critical illness, and we have a full referral process that families and physicians can go through in order to refer those children to our mission. And we want to increase that as much as possible so that we are granting all of those wishes to those children. And I will say that when it comes to Make-A-Wish, we have 4 kind of options that people usually go with. They can wish to go somewhere. They can wish to have something, they can wish to meet someone, or they can wish to be something for the day. So those are kind of the four categories that we usually go off of. And then we have a fifth category that not a lot of our kiddos actually choose, but those that do, it's pretty inspiring. And that's I wish to give. So maybe they want to give their wish to feeding the homeless for the day or having a pizza party for their classroom. And those are pretty fun wishes.
So there's a criteria. You have to fill out an application. You have to tell the organization about yourself, what's happening in your world, so that you meet a minimum criteria, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yes. There is a team at our headquarters in Phoenix so that it is consistent across all chapters. And once those kiddos are referred to us, they go through an approval process. And then if they're approved, then they're filtered out to the chapters to then start their wish journey.
And are you involved with, the Pediatric Cancer Society and, people that are carrying this big load? How do people find out about Make-A-Wish other than word of mouth or maybe this podcast? But what's your kind of meat and potatoes working with the families that could benefit?
Yeah, so we have a lot of resources for physicians, particularly social workers as well, families, word of mouth, all of the above. That is one area for the South Valley that we are looking to increase and working to essentially get some new partnerships with some of the hospital systems that we have here. The majority of the kiddos in the South Valley maybe aren't getting treated in the South Valley. They're either going to Los Angeles or they're going up to Valley Children's, and we do have very strong partnerships with those hospital systems. It can start as early as, an initial diagnosis and making sure that they know that Make-A-Wish is around, so when they are ready to receive their wish, that we will be there.
So what's the funding like and the mechanism for that? I mean, it's just this isn't a taxpayer funded program. You're a 501c3. So how do you what do you rely on to make these wishes become a reality?
Yeah, so we rely heavily on individual donations. So that is one of my roles as the regional director, is to identify individuals that have the capacity to give at any level. To be honest, we will be having some signature fundraising events in probably Kern County and then Tulare County as we rebuild this area. I am in the process right now of recruiting for a regional council, so community champions that essentially want Make-A-Wish as a mission in their philanthropic interests and want to move that mission forward. So once we have that regional council developed, they will have a very strong say in what those events are going to look like, and I'm hoping that they will be very specific to our communities so that they relate to our communities really well. So those will be another funding opportunity. And then we have external events. We also get grants from foundations, and individuals can give essentially trust funds and things like that to us.
Endowments type stuff.
Thank you. Yes. So it's a little bit of that kind of.
Well, Key, we've talked many times about how giving Tehachapi is. We're one of the most giving communities I've ever been associated with, that's for sure. Cheers to Charity is coming up. I don't know if you're involved with Cheers to Charity, but that's an amazing organization that fundraises for organizations like Make-A-Wish. So if you haven't talked to Mary Beth Garrison or any of the leadership there, that might be something to start with too.
We have applied, so I submitted the application last week.
Right. Well, we know her. We could twist her arm. Yeah, but there's so many great causes.
Absolutely.
And this is one of them. I've mentioned to Key and Corey, my nephew was diagnosed with leukemia several years ago, 5-year journey, Children's Hospital in Madera. At some point, Make-A-Wish reached out to him, and then his wish was to go to Disney World. And so once he finished his treatment, I'm kind of generalizing, but finished his treatment, his mom and brother, they went to Walt Disney World in Florida. And it really, I am certain that it helped just a little bit, because I cannot imagine being a child with leukemia and then surviving, which is a giant blessing, but just icing on the cake, just to help you move on with your life, And
I realize that, I think just kind of poking on your website, you talk about that exact point where the impact, not just, so you mentioned it's not just terminally ill kids. We're talking about kids with life-changing illnesses, leukemia being one of them. It could go either way. You see the impact of helping people actually recover. These kids recover because of the impact their wish had.
Absolutely. There's now research that shows that children who know that they have a wish coming or that they are on their wish journey, that they are more receptive to receiving their medical treatment. They have a little bit of ray of hope at the end of this journey, and it doesn't just impact the child, but the entire family. A great story, one of my coworkers told me out of the Fresno area. She has a gentleman that comes into their office frequently, and his daughter was granted a wish years ago, and she lost her battle. And he still comes into the office there and says what an amazing experience it was. And it's also a great memorable experience for that family to hold on to. So even if they do, lose their battle, it is still a great opportunity for the family to come together and really make some lasting memories.
A big memory, I'm sure.
There's no question in my mind when I read that what Corey just mentioned on the website. Yeah, there's no question in my mind. I've seen those things, through personal experiences, that if you change your mindset, your body reacts to it, that your mind can control a lot of things, and getting that positive energy, being more positive versus being negative. And if this is that ray of sunshine for them, you can see where they start to go, yeah, I've got something to look forward to. Yeah, I can do this. I can beat this. It doesn't happen all the time, but that positivity definitely creates something obviously life-changing.
Well, you never know, Key. We could be walking now with some sort of issue in our bodies right now. You never know.
No, you don't.
You're healthy today and sick tomorrow, and there's no rhyme or reason, and it's better to give than to receive. And I'm a believer in Make-A-Wish. I've always been a big fan of this organization.
My niece was one of the kids who received Make-A-Wish, was granted. She was so excited, and she was just, at the time, I think it was 10 years old, and she had a brain tumor, and it was surgically removed, and she was nominated by the doctors that were treating her, and surprised her with the wish that she wanted. And it was just one of those things that she still talks about, and she's 12, 13 now, and it's just amazing to see the kids respond. And like you said, it creates that memory. And then the whole family was excited, but just hear her recap it.
Well, and like Ashley said, the word hope, and that really, HOPE, start to finish, that it doesn't matter what you do in your life, whether it's your daily work or at home with your children or your marriage or whatever. If you're sick, you need that hope too, to look forward to something. And the mind is part of the healing process. Not just the body, but the mind participates.
And I saw on the website one of the kids who wanted to do something, and it was be a firefighter for the day. Oh my God, just to see that little kid put on the plastic helmet or the turnouts and things that they treated him to, and just the smile. You could see an instant reaction, and just that whole change of a mindset. So
yeah,
that was pretty cool.
I had a great meeting today, actually, with the Tulare Police Department and Fire, and we've got a wish that's coming up in May, and it's exactly that. We're going to be having our kiddo escorted by police and go to the fire training center, and I'm so excited to see what comes of that wish.
If anyone ever wants to be, a podcast star for a day,
absolutely,
this is your spot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is probably gonna be on the very bottom of the list for these kids. They don't want to hang out with us, that's for sure. What was the impact I'm curious what the impact was for, I know you've done some stuff recently in 2021. What was the impact that COVID had on your organization? Because you're dealing with sick children, so you probably couldn't do much, but at the same time, you're having to deal with your hands totally being tied, because this is your mission. So what was that impact like? And how did you guys sort of recover from that?
Yeah, like everyone, COVID impacted us heavily. Not just our wish kids. Unfortunately, a lot of our wish kids had to reimagine their wish because we weren't able to travel at the time. We are still going through it right now. Disneyland is still not open to our wish kids. We're hoping that they will open soon. It's just, we've had to delay a lot of our wishes. So our kids are waiting even longer. Prior to the pandemic, we were hoping to grant wishes anywhere from 6 to 8 months in time, which is a long time anyway for a kid. Now it's anywhere from a year to 18 months and sometimes longer. That's a big struggle. And then the supply chain. So we have a lot of wish kids that would like to go on shopping sprees or get a PS5. Good luck getting a PS5 right now. It's really, it's difficult to be able to do that. Construction costs for those that want maybe a backyard makeover or playhouse, that's all increased. Our average wish cost right now is $10,000 for one wish.
Wow.
So it's pretty significant. It's why, we want to spread the word. It's why I'm here.
And then we've got some unfortunately, there's a Tehachapi connections that we have right now that are a part of the program.
Yes, absolutely. So I pulled some numbers for you. So in this area, Tehachapi, and then I would say the surrounding communities, Rosamond, Cal City, Keene, Boron, Edwards, we have granted a total of 44 wishes in this area, which is phenomenal. In Tehachapi alone, since 1997, we've granted 15 wishes. And we, like I said, we have 5 kiddos on their wish journey right now, and they are mostly Disneyland or Disney World. And then we have one that wants to be a superhero. So I am so excited about that wish. When we start the planning for that wish, I'm definitely going to be asking for our community's help to make that as special as possible for them.
I'm trying to figure out, how do you become a superhero?
I've seen it done. I've seen it done before. You know, it's really cool. I think it was done in San Francisco, Sacramento, something like that. And the kid, like, I
think it was Batman.
The police department. Yeah, the police department.
I saw that.
Did a few things. They worked with him on some calls, and he responded. And it was pretty awesome. So that's going to be great.
Very emotional.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep a dry eye, I bet, when these are going on, even probably in the planning process. Just to keep a dry eye I would think is impossible.
Well, when a child gets sick, it's just not fair. Your childhood should be fun. And I can see where they want to be a superhero, or they want to go to Disneyland because they want to be a kid again. Yep. They don't want to be laying in a bed with an IV. They want to be a kid.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was taking my grandson to preschool today, and on the way he goes, "Grandpa, I want to be Hulk." And, and that was from a 5-year-old, and that was his thing, was like, that's what I want to do. And I can't imagine telling him no, but then when you've got kids that have illnesses, and thank God that my grandson's healthy, you want to do everything you can to make that happen.
Yeah.
And that is exactly how Make-A-Wish was formed in 1980. His kiddo, he just loved the police department, and he was terminally ill, and his family connected with the local police to make his dream come true. And at that time, they didn't know what they were doing and what they were creating. And Make-A-Wish was formed from that experience, because they decided that this is something that we need to do for every single child that has a critical illness. Since then, we've granted so many wishes.
It's a nationwide organization. Nationwide.
Actually, it's international.
Okay. Oh, wow. Even better.
Yeah.
And for those that are listening that want to participate, they want to help, they want to make a donation or something, how can they do that?
Yeah, you can contact me. My phone number is 661-489-1341, or you can go onto our website, wish.org/CANV, and I'd be happy to work with you on allocating your donation.
And then can they keep the money local? If they say, hey, we want to keep it in the Tehachapi area or the Kern County area, can they designate that money so it stays here?
Absolutely. It's up to the donor's discretion where they would like the funds to go.
So we have 5 kids right now that are unfortunately, that are on the list. So yeah, there's definitely some local need there that we can put a smile on a face.
And anything we can do on, above and beyond, as far as, helping out the superhero thing and getting the police department involved.
Happen to know the police department and the fire department, and they answer when I call them, they answer.
We don't want to speak for Chief, but we don't want to speak for Chief, but I'm sure he'd be happy to help out in the fire department as well.
I signed the payroll check, so we'll be good.
That'd be fantastic.
Knowing that when the Special Olympics comes to town, that Chief carries that torch. There's not a question in my mind.
There's another perfect example of what I'm talking about. Well, Chief Krager is all about that.
Right.
Even we talked about it earlier in the show too. I mean, when it comes to the superhero wish, well, we've got actors and actresses that we work with the community theater.
That's right.
And they'd be fantastic to help stage some of these things.
Great idea.
For this kid who wants to be a superhero, whether it's here or somewhere in the nearby community. I'm sure we're
not going to let him jump off roofs, though. No. You gotta, you're gonna, no acrobatics.
Yeah, no Spider-Man. Hopefully he's not trying to be Spider-Man. So building to building.
Keep us in mind if you're doing some local planning, you need some help, just give us a holler. And if,
absolutely.
Just all of a sudden, real quick, if it's not us, then we probably know someone who can. So
even for our Disneyland wishes and Disney World wishes, we're always looking for granting volunteers to help us with those send-offs, maybe creating a little basket with a Mickey Mouse and a backpack for that kiddo and an itinerary of what they're going to experience. That's always things that we're looking for community support on. And we can't do what we need to do without our wonderful community partners. So if anybody's interested, feel free to please contact me.
And I'm sure every wish is very, very different. Some would like a big send-off. Some want to be very discreet discreet.
Absolutely.
And so you process that very appropriately.
Absolutely, yes. Each of our wish families, we have individual conversations with each of them to go through, do you want media involved? Do you want PR involved? Do you want potential donors to come to your wish? Would you like the community more involved, or do you want to be interviewed by anybody? It's up to them. If they say yes, then great. If they say no, then we will absolutely honor those wishes.
I think it's great too, though, on the other side. I mean, you mentioned earlier, but you've got some kids, they want to go a trip and experience, but then you've got some kids, it's kind of to Greg's point about still being a kid. They're like, no, give me the PS5. Like, I want the coolest video game system, and I'm going to do my thing on that. So
and I applaud them all day long. Yeah. And I support that all day long.
You still have that kid mentality when they're like, just give me the coolest video game system.
Be a kid as long as you can. Like Corey, he's still a kid.
Still there.
Right? 100%. And so we keep trying to pull him along, Key, but we got this big kid son here.
That's right. That's right. 100%.
Well, and our age range is 2.5 years of age up to 18. So we get a variety of different wishes depending on the age group. I just helped grant a wish in Bakersfield a couple weeks ago, and it was exactly that. It was a shopping spree, and this kiddo just wanted the technology to be able to communicate with his friends because he was always in the hospital, and with COVID, he hasn't been able to see them. And so that gave him the opportunity to get the most amazing gaming system and television and all the other cool things that he needed, games, etc., to be able to have those connections with his close friends.
And then when he's recovered, maybe that springboard into a tech job or something because he's into that, more into that than he would be normally. So there is a little positive there.
Yeah, absolutely.
What if you're 16 years old and you're diagnosed with something and it's multi-years, and then you're 19 when you're ready to take your wish? Is that possible then, or you're out of the program?
Yeah, no, it's a case-by-case basis. So, for example, if they're referred early on and they know that their physicians aren't going to allow them to go on their wish to, say, Hawaii or something, then we will absolutely work with that family. We try to grant the wishes as quickly as possible. Sometimes it doesn't happen, or maybe they age out and then they recontact us because they weren't able to ever utilize their wish. So it just depends on
so there's flexibility there. So that's a great answer. Love to hear it.
Ashley, let's give that information again for those that would like to help.
Yeah, my phone number is 661-489-1341, and our website is wish.org/CANV.
What about if there is someone there that might have a need? How can they nominate that child or to get them in the program?
First of all, they have to have the family's approval, of course, and they have to be pretty cognizant of what the prognosis is for that child's condition, illness, and anybody can go onto our website, wish.org, and there's actually a tab that says referrals. It's a pretty simple process from there. You just fill out the form and send it off.
So it helps if it's a family member or the physician, someone who's directly involved.
Sounds like a simple way to make a child's day.
It does. And also, you guys are a part of the Kern Community Foundation Give Big Kern Day coming up on May 3rd.
We are going to be doing an awareness campaign starting April 19th to all of our local connections that we have maybe touched in the past, our current wish families, past wish families, donors, etc. And we are looking for our wish granting volunteers to increase. Right now, with 200 kids on their wish journey, we have 5 wish granting volunteers. And so we want to make sure that each of those wish kiddos and their families are stewarded throughout the process. And if the wishes are taking a year to 18 months to grant, that's a lot of families to steward for 5 people. So we're looking to increase that number and hopefully recruit some new wish granting volunteers. That's also a pretty simple process, and more information can be found on the website, or I'd be happy to talk to them about it.
What if you can kind of capsulize that? What would that entail?
It's such a cool volunteer position, I think. These are the individuals that actually have the conversations with the family and the kiddo to identify what kind of wish they want to have. So they really kind of go through a process and a conversation and kind of an interview with that kiddo of what's your favorite color and what do you like to do after school, and if you could spend time outside, what do you like to do? And then we ask them those questions. If you could be anyone, who would you want to be? And if you could meet anyone, who would you want to meet? And then we kind of decipher, depending on their age and such, as to kind of what their top choice would be. And that's all what our wish granters do. And then they have the choice to either stick with that family throughout the process and kind of help steward them along the way, do some what we call wish wish boosts. Maybe it's a card like your wish is coming up, we're so excited, or giving them a basket of goodies or sending them something to get them excited about their wish. And then for those that are local wishes, those wish granting volunteers would then help us with coordinating the wish. So if it's a shopping spree, our volunteers actually coordinated that shopping spree and worked with each of the stores. So it can be hands-on, but it's also a pretty awesome opportunity. You do have to be 21 years of age, and you do have to go through a background check process. But if that is something you're interested in doing, it's awesome. It's pretty great.
That's rewarding.
That is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sounds very cool.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned earlier before we started recording that there was a bilingual need as well. So for those that speak Spanish or other languages, or is Spanish the primary need?
Spanish is the primary need for this region. Everything that we're doing right now is virtual when it comes to wish granting, with the exception of the wish day itself. We're hoping that changes soon. We do have many bilingual kiddos throughout our chapter, and so we are looking for some volunteer support to help us with those conversations and to identify what the best wish is for them.
Ashley, let's give out that information one more time if people would like to help in one way or another. What's the website?
Sure. The website is wish.org/CANV.
And that's for California, Nevada.
Correct.
Since that's the region that you cover.
Correct.
Yeah, such an interesting little...
Big piece of geography right there, that's for sure.
Yeah. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you'd like to mention?
I would want to say thank you. It's opportunities like this that really help us, again, spread the word and bring it a little bit more local, because like I said before, a lot of people think that we are a national organization, but they don't realize that we are granting wishes right here in your backyard. We are always very fortunate to be able to have any conversations with local individuals to let them know that we are here, we are granting wishes, and we hope you'll join us.
Well, Ashley Sodergren from MakeAWish, thank you so much for coming in here to the Tehachapi Studios. We appreciate everything that you're doing and putting smiles on kids' faces and giving them hope.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kind of sitting here stunned thinking, what a difference MakeAWish, Ashley's team, can make. You know, your family, your friend, your neighbor, or somebody you don't know, but they're part of the fabric of this community. And every once in a while, people need help, and we need to. It's like Love Tehachapi. You know, Love Tehachapi is helping people. They're not just picking up trash; they're helping people in so many different ways. MakeAWish is helping, the children, the future of our country, and it's give forward so that people give back. If that makes sense. And such a great organization with a great mission
with volunteer opportunities. So thanks again for representing MakeAWish and all the work you guys do. So I want to say thanks once again.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time here on Tehachapi. If there's anything that you would like more information on, you can send us an email at media@tehachapicityhall.com. Maybe it's a show idea, it's a thought. Or if you'd like more information and you want us to get it to Ashley, that email works as well, and we'll forward it right on to her. Again, media@tehachapicityhall.com. We appreciate your time, and we'll catch you again soon.
Tehachapi is a conversation about Tehachapi designed for the people who live here or who would like to know more about this mountaintop community. If you have a question you would like answered, email media@tehachapicityhall.com. We will try to answer it on a future episode of Tehachapi.